Video for Math Lesson 7.1, Assignment 77. Exponential Notation. In the math message, you were asked to complete the math message problem at the top of journal page 209. Open your journal to page 209 right now and take a look at what you wrote in answer to this question. The question is this: which is true? 4 to the third power equals 12, or 4 to the third power equals 64? And you were asked to explain your answer. Well, the correct answer is 4 to the third power equals 64. And the reason for that is because 4 to the third power means 4 times 4 times 4, which, when you multiply that, equals 64. 4 times 4 is 16, times 4 is 64. Now, we're going to talk about exponential notation today. And this is not the first time that we've come across exponential notation. You worked with it before 5th grade, and we also talked about exponential notation back when we were working in Unit 1 and we were doing prime factorization, because exponential notation is kind of a shorter way to write multiplication problems when you have repeated factors. Okay, now in your notebook, I want you to open to your next clean page and put the heading Exponential Notation. Write that at the top. And then you need to copy down on that page what I have right here. Okay, put the example 4 to the third power and label the exponent. 3 is our exponent. Label the base number. 4 is our base number. And then put down the note. The exponent tells how many times the base number is used as a factor. That exponent tells us how many times to take our base number and multiply it. Okay, use it as a factor. So put this example down below. 4 to the third power equals 4 times 4 times 4, which equals 64. The product, 64, is written in standard notation. Remember, standard is like normal, basically. So anytime it says standard notation, that's just writing it as a normal number, like we would normally use. This is exponential notation. Both of these are names for 64. So is this. This is 4 times 4 times 4. That's also a name for 64. Remember those name collection boxes? There's many different ways that we can represent 64. One of them is to use exponential notation like this. One way is to use repeated factors like this. One way is to use the standard notation. Okay, make sure you have all of these notes down in your notebook before you continue on with this lesson. Now, on your journal, page 209, number 2 says complete the table. Now I want you to take a look at that table right now. The first row has been done for you, okay? These are different parts, so pay attention to what the headings of the columns say. So in exponential notation, the number would be written 5 to the 4th power. The base is 5, the exponent is 4. Now if we write that number as repeated factors, we would write 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. Because remember that exponent 4 tells us how many times to use the base number 5 as a factor. So we've used it 4 times as a factor. And then in standard notation, it would be whatever number this represents, which in this case is 625. Now, you can figure these out by doing multiplication on pencil and paper, or you can use a calculator and punch in 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 equals and see what you get. Now, let's take a look at the second row. This one only has 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 in your chart. You need to use that to figure out what goes in the other places. Well, I knew that it would be 6 to the 4th power because my base number is 6, that's my factor. My exponent is 4 because that's how many times I used 6 as a factor. So it would be 6 to the 4th power. And in standard notation, after I multiplied 6 times 6 times 6 times 6, I got 1,296. Now what I want you to do is I want you to complete this table just in number 2. Pause the video, complete this table, then resume the video. Okay, you should have completed this table, and I'm going to take down and reveal the answers here so that you can check your work to see how you did. If you have any questions about this, please make sure to come and ask me in the morning. I'm more than happy to show you where you made your mistake. Okay? It's okay to make mistakes, remember. We just want to make sure we know what we did wrong so that we can hopefully avoid making the same mistakes in the future. Now, there's a way that we can do these exponents on a calculator without having to type out every single number, like 5 to the 4th power. Instead of having to punch in 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 equals, there's a shortcut on the calculator that we can use, okay? And your calculator has exponent keys. Now, most scientific calculators have a few different keys, and they're not always the same. Just depending on the calculator, they might look different. And so it's impossible for me to show you every single calculator, but I want you to try to find those keys on your calculator, and if you are unable to find them and make it work, come and show me in the morning and I'll show you how your calculator operates. Now, sometimes if you look at your calculator, you might see a key that has x to the 2nd power. If you have a key that says x to the 2nd power, that means that that's just using the exponent 2, so you're just squaring the number. So if you just need to square your number, you can hit that button. But that will only work if your exponent is a 2. So if your exponent is anything other than a 2, you're going to need to use a different button. Now, on some calculators, it looks like y to the x power. On some calculators, it kind of looks like an upside down V, and I'm not sure. There may be other ways that it would look. So see if you can locate those buttons and figure out how to punch them in your calculator. Now, an adult or an older sibling would be very helpful, probably, if you're having trouble locating yours. So if you have an adult or an older sibling at your home, ask them if they can show you on your calculator where it is. And I want you to try these the problems in Table 3, okay, if you can. And we'll talk about it tomorrow, and we'll see how it goes. Don't fret if you're having trouble figuring out your calculator, because I'll show you tomorrow, and it won't be a big deal. You'll be able to catch on just fine. But if you have someone at home who knows calculators and can help you find it, it's kind of fun. Sure makes the work a lot easier to just punch those things into your calculator. If you have like an upside down V on your calculator, what you would probably need to do for this kind of a problem is you punch in your base number which is 4. Then hit your upside down V key. This is your exponent key. Okay, and that it's like telling your calculator to go up high, like it's like an arrow pointing up, and then hit in your exponent, which is 3, and then push enter. And you should get 64. Okay, so try that and see if it works. And go ahead and try the rest of the problems in this table as well. And we'll compare tomorrow and we'll share with classmates and we'll see how it went.